Now, you're here today because we have an exciting program with LevelPath and Congruence AI native procurement, unlocking 10 times productivity in sourcing. And with me today, I'd love to have on camera, there we go, we have David Hurtado. He's the SVP, Operational Finance, Procurement, and Supply Chain. He's the Senior VP of Operational Finance and Procurement and Supply Chain for Congruence. He's responsible for driving margin through a detailed understanding of operations. So I love the fact we have finance and procurement all in one brain. So it's wonderful. And then with him today is Taylor Gooding, who's a solutions consultant at LevelPath. She's based in San Francisco, has a strong background on logistics, customer service, and onboarding. A Virginia Tech alumni, she thrives in dynamic environments and is passionate about building meaningful relationships. I have to tell you, they're seated together, which never happens. But you can just tell the level of energy is so high around these two. So welcome to David and welcome Taylor. And I'm going to go off screen. Folks, open your Q&A, send your questions in there. The chat is just for that, to chat. But use the Q&A and I'll come back on screen when we get later on in the presentation. So take it away.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dawn. We're really excited to be here in San Francisco, especially in person together. So thank you everyone for joining us. Like Dawn mentioned, I'm a solutions consultant here at LevelPath. And really, we've seen firsthand how procurement can either hold companies back with manual, disconnected processes, or actually unlock growth and when it becomes a true strategic driver. So just a little bit of information here around AI. So I feel like this is the hot topic today. And really at LevelPath, we're on a mission to make procurement delightful. So we've grown very rapidly over the past few years, spanning across industries from healthcare to manufacturing and earning the trust of some of the world's largest enterprises. But really what matters more than growth metrics is what this says. So organizations are hungry for a new way forward in procurement. So when we look at this slide here, so I love this story because why now? Like, why is AI the hottest topic today? So AI is really changing the pace of technology adoption. If you think about it, the radio took 38 years to reach 100 million users. When we look at other systems like the television, we've scaled that down to 13 years. The internet only took about 4 years. And we think about ChatGPT, that only took 60 days really for 100 million users. This acceleration is exactly why procurement leaders cannot rely on old systems that bolt on AI. What we really need is AI native procurement, and that era has really already begun here. So it's happening today. We see it in all of our systems. We see it in the news. We see it everywhere. And really what AI native means is that this intelligence is built into every layer of the platform that you're using. So from data structures to your workflows, we don't want this to be added on after the fact. It's like the shift from on-prem to cloud native or from desktop to mobile native. Those who adopted early were able to scale, have that flexibility, and see those efficiencies. So the same is true in procurement. When we look at this slide here, so we're just trying to see what does this look like in practice? So really what this means is just replacing 15 to 20-minute manual tasks with one click. We want to make sure compliance is enforced automatically. Your accuracy is improved with fewer errors, and scalability is built in. Thousands of approvals, contracts, sourcing requests should be able to move through the system in seconds. And sourcing itself, really something that has been a very complex process historically. It's extremely time consuming, can often be frustrating. The goal is really that this becomes delightful with AI native procurement. Imagine you're automating the entire process, reviewing bids side by side, and instantly turning that raw data into actionable insights. So where our good friend David here is going to come into play is really how this looks in the real world. So if we take a look at the Congruence story, especially, this is a company that embraced the AI native approach, and really you've redefined how you manage sourcing. So really, just to kick things off, David, would love to hand it over to you just for a little overview here.
Thank you, Taylor. Congruence is a digital infrastructure construction company. We build basically fiber optic networks throughout the United States, fiber to the home, Our new push, because of the AI environment, is really connecting all of those data centers. So the timing is great for our company, and we're really excited about the opportunities that are out there. I think what I wanted to talk about a little bit today, you can go to the next one, is really the transformation process for procurement organizations. I saw this slide about probably over a decade ago, a similar slide. And over the past 10 years, I've been modifying this slide and adjusting it for what I've found in the environment. Now, when I look at it, you have procurement operations, vendor management, and strategic sourcing, and then overlaid with third-party risk management. To me, procurement operations is really your core. It should be seamless. It should be just user-oriented because it's the engine that drives your business. And when I look at procurement operations, for me personally, I've always loved to insert myself in the approval flow. The approval flow enables sourcing executives to really understand what the company is spending money on and whether or not that spend is aligned with the direction of the company. It also gives you startling insights into your tailspin, which is never a fun thing, but it's a way to figure out what it is. In terms of strategic sourcing, I mean, there are two things that I'd really like to talk about there. And really, that's data management and spend analytics. You have to have data management and spend analytics in order to create the differentiation for your organization. Those things we're always talking about, and they become even more important in the world of AI because of the rules around what kind of data can go into AI. AI uses data to learn, so you really need to understand how your data is oriented and whether or not it's clean and ready for consumption. And then finally, the thing that I've added to this slide over the years is really executive alignment. It doesn't matter if you can process PRs in 2 days if you're just speeding things along that aren't contributing to the company or aren't contributing to the objectives of the company. And that's why I think for the executive alignment piece, it's really that vision, the influence, and the trust that you gain by making sure that you're partnered with the executive team. And so just, when you look at procurement transformations, really it goes back to the conversation that I had a little earlier where we talk about vision and alignment with the direction of the company, the talent process, making sure that you're getting the right people. The way I look at hiring is what is the art of the possible with this person? If I have the right person in the job, the art of the possible is limitless. And so that is such a huge piece of what we do. Then how do we enable effective decision making is really, again, core data. How is the data stratified and what analytics are we using to make our decisions? And then the final one is just constantly looking at your technology stack and trying to get that stack as simplified as possible and making sure that you understand all of the elements of your spend. Technology is the key, obviously.
All right. So when we think about level path in action here, so being truly AI native, level path is not bolting AI onto legacy systems. We built this from the ground up to embed AI in every single workflow. So you should look for things like also UI simplicity. So unlike some maybe legacy procurement tools, we have here consumer grade design with enterprise grade power. So really it's outcome driven. It's designed to surface savings, like David mentioned there too, improve the speed to contract and enable data-driven decisions from day one. And that's truly the power of being AI native. All right, so there's been a lot of predictions in 2025 about where AI was going to sit. So what we want to take you through is just a couple of these predictions and compare it to reality as we're coming towards the end of the year. So this will be according to David here. We'll kind of walk through each of these and get his perspective on each of these different topics. So starting with AI adoption. So the prediction here was that by 2025, most procurement organizations will embed AI in their operating models, with over 78% of enterprises implementing or scaling AI-powered procurement tools. So, David, from Congruix's perspective, what's been the reality of embedding AI into sourcing?
Well, we're very fortunate. We have an AI native platform, and the amount of sourcing events that we can do with a very small procurement team is incredible. We've probably released 50 sourcing events over a period of a few months. And the other thing that really helps with that AI native platform is that you don't have to have a category expert in order to create the RFP and generate a number of questions for that RFP. The AI is amazing at doing that. In terms of the statement, I think that most organizations can easily achieve the using AI through the bolt-on applications that are out there today. But I think the key to success is really having an AI native platform. Because the bolt-ons just, I mean, they'll do some of what you need, but they don't help you on the end-to-end process.
Absolutely. And when it comes to adoption from your team, like how have you seen them taking these AI native tools and putting it into reality? Was it easy to adopt? Was there any pushback there?
It was easy to adopt. I mean, just
Delightful even.
well, it's such a the tool is so friendly and the tool is so user oriented that everybody loves getting in and experimenting with it and using it to create value.
Awesome. Thank you. All right, next up is around generative AI investment. So the prediction here, 22% of CPOs will invest more than $1 million in Gen AI for sourcing and procurement, which is up from the 11% in 2024. So what this is signaling is just rapid investment, rapid scaling. So David, do you think procurement leaders are investing strategically in Gen AI, or do you think that they're really more reacting to competitive pressure to do something with AI?
I think they're probably reacting a bit. 22% seems low, even though it's doubled from the previous year. I suspect, having been in the seat at a number of companies, that a lot of it is driven by the difficulty of shifting the procurement technology stack. And that probably drives a lot of the more difficult decisions.
Of course, of course. Interesting. So yeah, I think that 22% seems a little low to me as well. How close would you say, like 50%?
My gut is that it's more than 50%. I mean, especially just with the bolt-ons, there's some level of AI available, to at least accelerate parts of the work.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like that's just going to continue to go up in 2026.
Well, and every time you log into a software package now, there's a little AI chatbot that pops up, and that's kind of what I'm referring to as bolt-on.
Absolutely. Yep. Okay. Next up here, we've got procurement productivity. So AI-powered solutions were expected to increase procurement transaction speeds by up to 40% and reduce operational costs by at least 10%. So at Congruix, how do you measure productivity when it comes to procurement? And would you agree with this prediction here?
We have a tiny procurement team at Congruix. So the productivity is really driven by the amount of sourcing events we can administer and get closed. So I've easily seen the 40% number. The operational cost number, I'm always a little bit reticent about talking about that. I think that that's one of the things that I hear people in the procurement world always talking about avoidance and and all of these different things. And for me, it's cash on cash. Am I really changing the cash of the company?
Right.
And so I avoid things like avoidance. But I think there's going to be a significant increase in the speed to create and analyze sourcing events. I think some increases in PR process time, where if you didn't have efficient processes before. And then I think that you also have to keep in mind that at a CPO level, we use the throttling of the PR process to manage cash flow.
Right.
And so, if I can do it in 2 days, it's kind of irrelevant if I'm trying to throttle the cash flow. But having efficient processes, I think, is the most key element of it.
Absolutely. And this reducing operational costs by at least 10%. How do you feel about that 10% number?
My perception is really that it'll stay flat,
Okay.
and you may just not need to hire as many entry-level people,
Right.
because the entry-level people are, what in my mind AI is really creating all of the data analytics and all of the putting things in a spreadsheet and crunching numbers and all of that, I believe is where AI accelerates everything.
Absolutely. I would agree there. Okay, next up here, data readiness. So you kind of alluded to this earlier here. So prediction for 2025 was that 74% of procurement leaders would say that their data is not AI ready. So bridging this gap would unlock 70% higher cost reductions for these high performing organizations. So how do you see the data challenge playing out? What are the biggest blockers from your perspective in getting your data AI ready?
So I completely agree with the 74% number. I'm also surprised that it's not higher.
Okay.
Having clean data is probably the one thing we all struggle with on a constant basis, because data is the core of virtually everything we do. Turning that data into information that can be used for decisioning is the quest.
Right.
And so that's always the mission. How do we get to that point, right? Now, what's interesting is when I saw this question, I looked up what is AI ready data.
Right.
Because to me, that was kind of a new phrase. I didn't know what that meant. And so what I found was that it has to be accurate, complete, and free of errors. So
That's everyone's data, right?
Everyone's data is that, obviously, today. The second is interesting. It's organized so AI can consume it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's a different twist that we haven't really seen before. And then the third one was enriched, accessible, and prepared for AI use. And so I think between those three, that's why my thought about the 74% is probably low.
Interesting.
And if you keep in mind how AI operates, it learns on data.
Right.
So the better our data, the cleaner our data, the better the AI and the better the queries we can write.
Absolutely. And with that enrichment piece too, because I feel like we see this all the time with level path customers are bringing their data to us, taking it through that enrichment process is really a huge value add. How has that affected Congruix's operations within level path? Like what efficiencies have you seen from that AI enrichment that we're bringing to your supplier data?
I think the AI enrichment really helps when you're looking at third-party risk management, because you can constantly be running in the background and understanding what's going on there. And also the ability to find suppliers for products that you may not have purchased before, and being able to go and ask the agent, hey, who provides these services and which ones are the best in the market.
Right.
So that's always great as well.
Absolutely. Awesome. So the next topic here, which was a perfect segue, is AI agents. So here the prediction is that procurement is moving toward AI agents autonomously, keyword there, managing sourcing events, contracts, and compliance, freeing up teams for more strategic work. Now, sounds futuristic. How close do you think we really are to fully autonomous sourcing?
The word autonomous is always interesting
It
to
is.
me. Of course, I came to this meeting in a Waymo.
Right. Yep.
And we were, Waymo is the driver, the AI driven car. But the interesting thing I was telling Taylor before we started was my Waymo for the first time ever accelerated to get through a yellow light before it turned into red. And usually it had been in the past so conservative that it would never have done that. And so I'm watching that iteration, and it made me kind of smile when it did that today. I have no doubt that with orchestration and task agents, autonomy can exist. There's, in my mind, 100% autonomy can exist. The level of autonomy really depends on your playbook and your risk tolerance. That's the differentiating factor. Uh, there's no doubt it can go seamlessly. I think when I look at the second part of this about freeing people for strategic work, I think you have to define what strategic work is, because to me there's three elements of that strategic work. First is the ability to create and modify workflows which exploit AI.
Right.
So that's the first. The second strategic work element is the ability to create great queries to trigger the optimum AI response.
It's all about prompting these days.
Exactly, the
Yep.
prompting. And then the third one is really, again, data preparation and cleansing, and making sure that data is prepped and ready for the AI.
Absolutely. Yeah. And even with contracts, compliance, I think compliance is a key part of this too. We've talked a lot about sourcing there, but autonomous compliance, I feel like for organizations that are very risk averse, that can seem maybe a little bit scary. But how have you seen with maybe some of your risk processes today? Do you see opportunities for more agents to be involved in that? Or has there been any kind of lack or maybe fear of adoption of AI tools in compliance?
I haven't seen any fear of AI tools, of adoption of the tools, but I think it's really, how do you write your playbook? How do you write your playbook that says, look, if it's a medium risk, but it's in this category, then I want it to flag to a human.
Right.
So that a human can say, okay, I'm willing to consider this. But aside from that, I think the adoption is easy.
Great. Okay, this is a perfect segue into our proactive risk management prediction. So here, the prediction was AI-driven analytics will monitor and anticipate supply disruptions, providing those real-time intelligence pieces and enabling proactive risk management instead of more reactive. I mean, in a construction-heavy environment like Congruix, how realistic is predictive risk management today?
I think it's very realistic. I think TPRM is a great application for AI because it's running in the background looking for specific metrics and triggers, and at the same time enriching the data. To me, it's like aside from contracting and some of those elements, it's a great application for the AI.
Absolutely. And what do you think is needed maybe for those organizations that are a little more hesitant to bring AI into risk management? Like, what do you think is needed or what's missing with the tools today that could make it a little more mainstream?
I suspect it's probably just implementing the playbooks into the systems. I mean, if you have a set of questions that you want answered, if you had a set of triggers that say, these are things we want to accept, the AI can run that all day long in the background so that you're not having to worry about it. Again, I think it increases our productivity, and it also will highlight things, because if you have 600 suppliers, how do you know if somebody violated one of your trigger elements, right? But with the AI running, it can send you a note and say, hey, by the way, this supplier just violated this element.
Exactly.
And so that's what's amazing about the technology.
It's true. And imagine having AI help you write those playbooks too.
Exactly.
If you're missing a playbook today. Awesome. All right. And you mentioned too suppliers. So we always want to keep our suppliers in mind here. So with supplier collaboration, prediction was AI platforms will facilitate always-on supplier segmentation, real-time performance data, and the creation of agile, resilient supply networks. So what shifts are you seeing in how organizations like Congruix collaborate with suppliers using AI insights?
I think that this was one where gave me a little pause.
Okay.
I think similar to third-party risk management, there are data enrichment and automation opportunities with suppliers, but the word create and the creation in this statement assumes some level of ubiquitous AI-ready interactions across a wide platform of companies.
Yep.
And I think that will be the gap that you have to bridge.
Interesting. And with how you communicate and work with your suppliers in an AI native platform, how do you think AI has aided in that? I mean, with your processes today, if you think about sourcing, like communication, collaboration in a system that's also maybe automating some of this, it's autonomous sourcing is going towards removing the human from the loop there. So how would you see that affecting how you work with your suppliers today?
I think the one thing that we all have to keep in mind about, and I'm sure everyone on this call gets the training probably at least quarterly or not more. The thing that the automation creates is you clicking on links. And so, because all the communications coming out of the tool, you have to click on a link to get back into the portal. Things like that, I think are the things as you move across a spectrum of companies
Yeah.
that from a cybersecurity perspective, we have to be more cognizant of.
Absolutely. And I think you have suppliers today that are even a little bit weary about clicking into certain portals. How do you think, as we go into 2026, suppliers are going to have to get on board with a lot of these companies using more AI native like platforms? Do you think there's going to be a challenge there? Or do you think suppliers are going to get what's happening and try to catch up with us?
I think that suppliers will find the value themselves, but I think it's incumbent on all of us to figure out how that collaboration occurs from a cybersecurity perspective.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Well, wrapping up here too with these predictions. So procurement's role in strategy. So the prediction was advanced AI will empower procurement functions to play a central role in enterprise strategy. So driving value through actionable analytics and participation in business transformation. So what does that strategic evolution look like from your seat?
From my seat, I would say if you're a procurement organization and you don't have a seat at the table, the AI is not going to help you.
Yeah.
Because getting a seat at the table, and I'm not a fan of that phrase, but people use it. I think that that's really driven by you as a procurement leader demonstrating the value and demonstrating how you're completely aligned with the direction of the company.
Absolutely.
And there are a number of steps to get to that. But at the end of the day, to me, procurement operations needs to be seamless. It needs to be automated. And then you, as the leader, need to be able to align yourself with the executive team and make sure that you're moving in the direction of the company. Aside from that, it doesn't matter if I can do a PR in 2 days.
Right.
If that PR is not leading to spend that supports me achieving what the company needs to achieve.
Of course, yeah. And
So,
how is procurement influencing enterprise transformation at Congruix? Since you've started using more AI native platforms, you're aligned, there's a procurement seat at the table. What has changed, I guess?
well, what's changed is our ability to show the value. And so by using level path, we're able to, bid projects more robustly. We're able to, ensure that we're able to have multiple bids and that, we can choose one or three depending on the project itself. We can reduce costs right off the bat by probably 10 to 12%. And so those type of things really make great strides towards making the company successful. We're also looking at incorporating sales contracts into our contract database so that we can run queries quickly across those sales contracts to understand things like tariff implications and other triggers that may cause us to have to spend more money on something.
Absolutely. So I feel like having an AI native tool like this empowers the procurement team to be able to show the value, to be able to find these insights quickly. Because again, it's all back to the data, right? If you're getting your data into a system like this to allow you to pull those types of insights, what I'm hearing has been invaluable at this point.
Completely agree.
Awesome. All right. Well, at this point here, we've got some time left, so looks like we can open it up to the Q&A, Dawn.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you. I love that you two are together and you two are so in sync with each other that I can tell it's been a successful implementation and everything's gone really smoothly. David, your smile is so bright that I seldom hear this in an implementation story. Usually it's fraught with, "Oh, we had these issues, we had this critical success factor we had to get over the hump, and we couldn't get people to buy in." And so your story's been fantastic. But I'm
Well,
going to
you have
start
to,
with,
yeah, Dawn, you have to keep in mind this is my third round with this team.
oh my goodness, you're kidding.
So I had Scout, and then level path at another company, and now level path again. So
Oh, no
you find people that you absolutely know will support you and make you successful, and you stick with them.
Oh, I love that. A third time user of Level Path is absolutely amazing. So, Taylor, you did a great job finding the right person for
I
this
know, right?
webinar.
Right man for the job.
Yes, you guys should go on the road together. You're good.
Let's
So,
do it.
Yeah.
the first one is people ask, will we get a link to the recording of the webinar and the slides? The answer is yes. Tomorrow, to everyone who was registered will receive a link to the recording. It'll also be in the SIG Resource Center for the next 2 years. So at any point, you can share the link and tell people to watch it, and it'll be available tomorrow about noon Eastern. So the first question came in and says, what does it actually mean for data to be AI ready, in quotes, in procurement, and how do we get there? And so I'd like to add to that as well. Did you have clean data to start, or did the AI have to enhance it to make it actionable?
No, I didn't have clean data to start. I would be amazed if I could go to any company and join in this role and find clean data. I'm sure there are some, and I would, like to shake their hand because that's quite a task. But the data enrichment process with the AI helps tremendously. You still need some type of rules-based human interaction to really check things and verify them. But once you get it to the right state, then everything is just incredibly amazing.
So first it had to be cleaned up and enhanced through the AI. Then you consider the data to be AI ready. Is that what
Right.
you're saying?
Right.
Okay. And so Taylor, could you just maybe elaborate on how do you enhance the data?
Absolutely. Yes. So we work with a lot of customers during that implementation period. And ideally, the data we're getting is your raw data. We want the mess, we want the information. What we then do during that implementation period is put it through a very white glove deduplication process, understanding where are your commercial entities, where is this payable information living. We'll do that mapping process for you, bring that data into level path, and the AI enrichment piece will actually come after that fact. So then once we have created your data in this AI ready state, you don't necessarily need to come to us with your data AI ready, I would say. We then enrich it with products and services labels, competitors, any other publicly available information about your suppliers to make that data so much richer when you come back into the system and try to access it. So it's a very white glove approach, but also it's very heavy in the AI when it comes to mapping your supplier relationships and bringing in those extra product services labels.
I love that because that is so true. I've never been in an organization, David, that had clean data ever.
Right.
But I also wasn't in there when AI was around. So now I think, gosh, my consulting days and my procurement days would have been so much nicer if AI was around. So are there any, and I don't know who this is to, are there any examples of AI tools already running sourcing or contract tests on their own? So do you have agents then that could run sourcing or contract tests?
Absolutely.
Yep, definitely.
There's an agent for that. That's my phrase.
Got an agent for that.
We've got an agent for
Yeah,
that.
and what we see in Level Path too, so we have the ability to completely configure and customize our agents. So if there are processes that you're finding you're doing for every single request that's coming from the business, let's help you build an agent for that. So when it's coming into Level Path, we're making that autonomous process seamless, still providing visibility, right? We want to make sure that the business and procurement understands exactly what's happening with that contract or with that sourcing event. But let's take the heavy lift out of it and have the agents do that.
And
And
so when you say contract agent, what does the contract agent do?
Great question. So there are different contract agents that we could create. In Level Path, a common one that we see is the contract negotiation agent. So
Oh,
what this agent is doing, it's going to go through for that particular supplier on that contract that's renewing, it's going to pull in all of the projects you've been working on with them, any of the other previous contracts you've had with that supplier, and put together a negotiation playbook of how you should approach this type of conversation with the supplier. We
wow.
also have contract review agents. So if you have a playbook or standard terms, we can embed that into level path. So if you bring a new agreement in, it's going to automatically compare those two documents and highlight risk areas. Can also give you recommended replacement language. So could almost be like a redlining agent that lives within the system to help speed up some of those maybe more legal processes that are happening.
Wow.
And Dawn, I think you'll see too, the next iteration of agents, you have
Mhm.
orchestration agents, which are really the process level agent, and then you have task level agents. And so within an orchestration level, you may have a number of different agents doing different things.
So is it fair to think of an agent as sort of I mean, we make it sound like it's almost human, but is it really the entity that's doing the work?
The agent is the process that creates the work product. If you
And
think about it, one of the folks here, and I've stolen his story. If you think about a Michelin level restaurant,
Mhm.
you have an executive chef. That's the human interaction, right? And then you have all of the different chefs, like a sous chef, a pastry chef, etc., right? Each of those is an agent, and the executive chef defines when the food comes out, how the food comes out, and what it looks like, make sure it's the right temperature. But each of those individual chefs, the sous chef, for instance, is the agent that's creating that product.
Interesting. I love that's a good analogy. I might have to steal it, and
Yeah.
I'll credit the company,
I
of course.
stole it as well. So
Okay.
what is it? It's research if it's more than one person.
Yep.
Yes, exactly. We did research, and this is how we describe agents. Yes.
Yes.
Um, so Taylor, and well, actually, probably to both of you, why do some procurement teams fail when trying to use AI? And what do you do to help them succeed?
That's a great question. I think with the customers that we see, I mean, I think adoption is always the hardest part, right? So, how do we start socializing this with the business? And, like David mentioned as well, proving the value. So, I think realizing that a tool like this is not meant to replace, it's meant to add value and to be able to give you a tool that allows you to easily show the value that procurement teams are bringing to an organization as a whole. So, I think being able to work with a tool that's user friendly, easy to implement, easy to set up, being able to just get into the system and run a sourcing event immediately. That's what's going to help these procurement teams be more successful. And David, I'm sure you've probably seen some of this as well.
The most simple example I have, Dawn, is we've all been in the world where we put an RFP out, we get all the RFP responses back. One's a PDF, one's a Word, one's Excel. You name it, they all come back in different formats, right? The most amazing thing is if you can demonstrate to someone the fact that watch how the AI handles all these disparate responses, their mind will be blown. Because you can just say, look, take all of this data and then tell me who gave me the best price. And so that's a prompt. But then you can also say, who's the best person to select based on no impact, no impact to quality? Or what can I remove from this bid that won't affect the service delivery time? Things like that. The prompts are incredible and it's so fast, in just seconds. And, people could take weeks to get through some of those decks of information.
Oh my gosh. I mean, don't you remember when you used to get 3 copies in a folder? It had to be signed for, it had to be on the desk at a certain day. And then you went around, photocopied it and separated sections, and it was all paper. I'm old enough to remember those days. So I can't even believe that an agent now can do all of that preliminary work and then start spitting out results. That's
Absolutely.
amazing.
Yep.
Now, David, I want to ask with the potential flight slowdown that they're talking about right now due to the government being out, um, are you looking for risk in your supply chain now as a result of maybe things won't be flown in or parts won't arrive or anything like that? Can you use this? Is there a risk agent available?
Um, I we haven't our implementation isn't that sophisticated yet. Uh,
Okay.
the tool could do it if we had the playbooks and the elements to input into the tool. But I mean, right now, my main review is like what contracts are affected by tariff prices? Can I pass through that price, or do I have to eat that price? change. And then some of the more complex elements, like, is it Buy America, Build America, right? And does this actual widget fall under that type of guideline? And so you can use the Buy America, Build America documents. You can scan them, read them, and spit out, hey, these three suppliers don't meet these expectations.
Oh my gosh, that would be fantastic. So how do you think the role of procurement teams will change as AI like this becomes more common?
I think I think that the entry level person coming out of college is going to be impacted the most. I think that if you're a senior person and you understand, because there are a lot of nuances in our world, as
Mhm.
you know, and you having a knowledge of those nuances and being able to look for them and understand them is something really that's valuable. I think, again, I think I mentioned it earlier in the presentation, the person who was brought on to crunch data, that job probably is somewhat at risk.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
need to bring a different skill to the table.
And but that was the mind-numbing type of work anyways. And smart people don't like to do dumb work and it's not challenging. So in some ways, we're going to be able to attract and retain better people would be my thought because you're using sophisticated tools. Now it gives me a chance to maybe fly at 10,000 feet or 20,000 feet and look at my category more strategically.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The example I love to give in the AI is, I want to buy ice cream and I don't know anything about ice cream. And you just ask the AI, how can I buy ice cream for my cafeteria? And it comes up with questions that you would never think about.
Exactly. It's all about prompting, right? I feel like procurement teams and those folks coming directly out of college too. I think that's going to be kind of a new skill, is how can we prompt these AI tools and these agents to do these types of tasks very effectively. So I think that's going to be a new skill that we're going to see a lot of younger people, and even procurement teams today are
Yep.
going to have to start learning how can we do better prompting when it comes to these tools.
Yeah, we actually have a member organization that does prompt of the week, and they vote on which prompt was the best thought out and produced the most results. So you're right, prompting is a whole new way of thinking about how do you pose your question. Yeah,
Exactly.
I like that. So how is AI helping ensure supplier data stays accurate, diverse, and compliant at scale?
Well, I think that's the whole enrichment process, that, I mean, that's absolutely incredible. Just the constant refresh of the data, the constant analysis, flagging anomalies, and so that you can investigate those anomalies. I think those are all the elements that really accelerate the implementation of AI.
I like that. And then can you share an example how an AI native platform helps bridge that gap between procurement, finance, and business stakeholders? And this is probably asked because of your background, David.
Well, that's an interesting question. And this team, what I did was I set up a demo of the platform to my fellow executive committee members. And I think that it was just, they were overwhelmed by it, because seeing it in action is different than talking about it.
Mhm.
Right. And being able to, because like we were giving that demo, and we created an RFP, we simulated a response to the RFP and all that. And then my favorite also is, can you show me that in Italian? And it immediately changed. And if anybody has ever worked globally, you know that Italian is a very difficult language to translate in the business world, because it's very specific. But it was just amazing. We were able to just, get a response to the RFP, create it, and then just turn it into Italian in a matter of seconds.
Oh my goodness.
And
I
so,
love this.
doing those demos where you actually let people mess with the prompts, use the prompts, follow the flow, is how you sell the platform.
So that goes to the next question. If somebody wants to take their first step towards AI native procurement without overhauling everything, where is a practical place to start? And I guess, I don't know, do you guys do a proof of concept, Taylor, or how do you start if somebody doesn't want to just say, all right, I'm not ready to buy level path yet. I want to see it. I want to see what it can do for me. Where would you start?
Absolutely setting up a demo with our team. I think we're more than willing to get on a call, show you AI native platform in action. So I mean, we talked about a lot of different aspects of the platform today. So contracts, sourcing, managing these workflows or projects, also that stakeholder experience. We didn't talk too much about stakeholders, but being able to use AI to seamlessly point the business exactly where they need to go, bring those policies and procedures to life. So we're more than happy to walk anyone that's interested through a demo of the Level Path tool. And we do also have our own webinars through Level Path as well. So if you wanted to join a monthly demo, our team is happy to talk you through that as well. But as we get closer to the process, if you become more interested, we've done a ton of custom demos as well. So taking your sourcing templates, understanding what types of things are you looking to get out of an AI native system, and how would this look in real life in Level Path?
And Don, I think we have to really understand the definition of AI native. So really, AI native is probably anything built in the past 2 years
Yes.
as a platform. And the analogy that I use is if you recall when mobile phones first started becoming smartphones, right?
Yeah.
The original apps that you clicked on were really taking you to a web browser.
Hmm.
And when those apps then became mobile and truly built for mobile, that's mobile native. And so, you have to be careful that, that really that anything created prior to probably 2 years ago or 3 years ago is probably going to be a bolt-on. And it appears to be AI native, but it's really the layers aren't there in the platform that create what the seamlessness of the AI and being able to go out to all the different LLMs and use the best one for that application.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you brought up a really good point because everyone says they're AI enabled, but there are very few that are AI native and built,
Correct.
yeah, starting with AI. So that's a really good point. So this one's interesting. What are your thoughts in the future where AI agents are being answered by other AI agents?
Interesting.
I
I feel like that's coming, right? It's like
do
when,
too.
yeah,
Yeah.
I could absolutely see that, especially when it comes to, let's see, like sourcing events. We talked about like the supplier communication back and forth. Automating the responses to suppliers, maybe suppliers are automating their responses back to the business there. So have you seen that anywhere?
Well, I think about the examples of if I use an AI native platform to pay a bill, then I'm probably expecting some type of a query or response because if it goes out to a financial ERP and that financial ERP pays the bill and then says, "Hey, by the way, I communicated back to the procurement platform that I paid this bill." Right. So I think there's a lot of that that's out there and could be already, starting to work. I think about the QBR process.
Oh, wouldn't that be
The-
nice?
well, but
It's here. There's a
it's already
team.
there. There's an agent for that.
Oh my
Uh,
God.
but what happens is, but it ties to what you're saying in that I've got a QBR process that queues however, whatever frequency you want it to queue, but then it's creating it's triggering other agents to gather the data for that specific vendor, put it in a format that you want. How do you want to see it? And then push it out in a pre-read format so that, when you have the meeting, and probably send a meeting invite. So I mean, those are multiple agents doing multiple things in parallel.
So what about negotiation, one agent to another? Is it going to be who has the smarter agent, or is it only take it so far and then the human has to step in?
I think it's data and clarity.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is have the data behind the agent, right? Like what information is it working off of? If you're working in an AI native platform where everything's connected, for example, Level Path, where we want to be your supplier system of record. Anything you do in the system is going to roll back into that supplier record. So that agent has access to all of that data surrounding that supplier. So if you have that, it can be a very powerful agent. However, if you're working with disconnected systems, that agent's only focused on one piece of your data, that might not be as effective of an agent.
And I do have even today, Dawn, where like I'll get a message that, hey, this SaaS agreement is up for renewal in 3 months. Um, Here's their performance to date. in the marketplace, people are trying to achieve the following four things.
Wow.
And so it starts to inform your negotiation strategy. I don't know about bot to bot, but I do know that the AI informs your strategy, tells you what other people are doing, and gives you some it'll give you a specific milestone list of things to go do prior to this renewal.
Wow. I mean, it's just made procurement that much more powerful. And
Very powerful.
but actionable data. It's not just I get stronger because I negotiate harder. I have good data to back up my negotiation stance. So that is fantastic. So, folks, we are out of questions in the queue. If we still have a few minutes left, so I'll give you all about a minute to put something in there. If not, we'll give you back 5 minutes on your calendar. But boy, seriously, David, you need to be on the road with Level Path.
He basically is at this point.
I mean, this is the type of thing that resonates with people. A real human being that really gets it, who has done it 3 times. Well, one of the questions came in to say thank you. So thank you very much because it was fantastic. But yeah, this has been one of the most fun, informative, and I've learned so much today. I can't believe it. I mean, I do these webinars every single week, and I learned a lot in this last hour.
Perfect.
That's the goal.
That is the goal. So, folks, if that's it, then we are going to give you back exactly 4 minutes on your calendar. So be safe, be happy wherever you are. Hope you have a wonderful afternoon or evening wherever you are, and we will send that link out tomorrow by noon Eastern. So, David and
thanks, everyone.
And Taylor, thank you, and thank you to Level Path for bringing such great content. This was fantastic.
Of course.
Thank you so much.
Have a good rest of your week.
Thanks, guys.